Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Banner Press Coaches Show. My name is Joe Alberico, the sports editor for the Banner Press, and of course, I am joined by Brenham High School football coach Eliot Allen. Coach, 4 wins in a row, and you're possibly playing for a district championship this Friday night. Are you having fun yet?
I'm having a good time. I am. I think you have a good time whether you win or lose. Just doing this for a living, but when you win, it's a little bit easier, I think.
Your team is obviously has a little bit of a knack for the interesting and the dramatic, and I got to ask, are these games more fun to watch in person or on film? Because they're probably a little bit stressful on Friday nights.
They're a little stressful on Friday nights, no doubt, and I've been pleased with the way our kids fight till the very end. They have a lot of grit, and that is very satisfying as a coach. You look back at the tape, and oftentimes there are many things that we do throughout the course of the game that if we do it right to begin with, we're not sitting in those situations. But nonetheless, I'm proud of our kids.
Well, it's always great to come out on the positive side of things, and you're now 5-3 overall with those 4 wins in a row, and you're a 4-1 in the district, tied for first place. You had a 24-20 come from behind win over Bastrop last Friday, and kind of break things down for me once you saw the film.
Well, I don't think we played. Obviously Bastrop we felt like was a good football team. I know part of it were things that Bastrop was doing, but we didn't feel like we played as cleanly as maybe we'd like to this late in the year. And we know Bastrop had 2 real big weapons with the quarterback and running back, and we felt like they had a really good defense. And so, the disappointing things where we came out really offensively, moved the ball pretty well. I think the first 3 drives we moved it down into the red zone and maybe got 3 points total out of the first 3 drives, which was disappointing. And then we gave up some big plays defensively. We got better in the second half and all those things.
I did hear you tell your team in the huddle after the game, it wasn't the prettiest win, but we got it done. Is that kind of the mindset at all when you get into these games against good teams that as far as playoff positioning goes, you kind of have to win any means necessary?
Well, no doubt. The farther you go, it takes winning is you have to do a lot of things right to win, and you also need to catch some breaks and I think if you win, that's a good thing, and the deeper you get into the season.
So when we look at the offense from that Bastrop game, another 100+ yard effort from tailback Tyree Jackson and Garrison Weiss just over 160 yards passing. I'm beginning to say it every week, but your players are kind of finding a way to get it done in multiple ways on offense.
Yeah, I think so. We offensive line-wise, we didn't play quite as well as we did maybe the last couple of weeks, and whether that was just we're playing against a pretty good Bastrop team, or they were a 4-man 4-3 front, and we've been seeing sort of 3-4 fronts, and that's a little different for offensive linemen. But we struggled a little bit. Obviously, towards the end of the game, we played a little bit better. And then, like I said, defensively, we had a difficult time stopping the run, and so my thing is, I'm pleased with where we are. I'm pleased with the offensive output that we've had, and Garrison's done a great job, and we've been pretty balanced.
I want to talk a little bit about your special teams unit. Can you remember a time that in the past that you've had a team that returned 3 kickoffs for touchdowns in a season? Because it feels like you've had those 3 this year, and then after Lontarius McLean's big touchdown was kind of a shot in the arm for you guys on Friday. You kind of get these touchdown returns in big moments and kind of keep your team alive. This unit is really kind of living up to its name as a special team.
Well, first off, the play that Lontarius and the entire kicking unit made with the long touchdown was no doubt the play of the game. I think that really turned the momentum and kind of put them on their heels a little bit. But I feel like all year long our special teams have been good. Coach Jesse Shiflett's done a great job with those guys, and we've gotten a lot of hidden yards out of field position yards. We've been able to pin them relatively deep on kickoffs. Our punt efforts have been great, and so I'm pleased with the entire special teams unit.
Shift to the defense. How did you feel about their performance Friday? They got chewed up a little bit, in the ground game. Bastrop's quarterback and running back chewed up a few yards, but never really succumbed to any big plays and really kept your team in it and gave them a chance to win the ballgame.
I'm pleased. I think we still having some guys up front hitting some wrong gaps, and then I think the deeper you get into your season, those small mistakes become bigger, and So, you know, while we're making some mistakes, I mean, I'm pleased with their toughness. They seem to, you know, that last couple of 3 drives, they seem to really, you know, have a little extra juice and make the plays needed. And we, on that last drive, I mean, we ended up tried to get a little bit aggressive. Play calling wise, just felt like, you know, we called the timeout early just to kind of, I think 2 minutes left or something. And I really just felt like at that point that we needed to refocus as a defense, and we needed to either be aggressive and you know, shut them down there, or if they were going to score, we weren't going to try to let them get beyond that 1 first down. And so they rose up and made a big play there, you know, a couple of big plays there at the very end, and I'm pleased with their effort. We know we got to get better throughout the course of the game. Yeah,
your defensive line certainly looked uber aggressive there at the end. It was nice to see them kind of chasing you know, that Desmond Young down quite a bit there at the end. But you know, let's turn our attention to Leander Glenn. You guys set up shop 7:30 p.m. on the road out there, and essentially this could be the, you know, the district decider. You feel like this is maybe the biggest game of the season so far? I mean, how do you feel about the Grizzlies offensively and defensively?
I think there's no doubt it's a big football game. You know, I'm pretty sure we're both ranked up there pretty high, and I do know that the winner could potentially have a district championship. But really, it's about us focusing on us this week and getting better. And I mean, we know it's a big game, but you don't call different plays. You don't play at a different level. You have to just play your best football this week. And Glenn is a very, very talented football team. I think they're clearly the most talented overall football team in our district. They good lines. They're an offense that probably, you know, takes pride in running the football, give you a lot of multiple sets, 2 tight ends all the way to no back. And defensively, I think they're a very sound 3-4 defense that's aggressive. They're top, you know, top in our district statistically, offensively and defensively. So it's going to be a real tough challenge. Well,
before we wrap up, I wanted to ask kind of a bonus question, and I'm sure you don't probably spend too much time on the past, but you've got 5 wins, and like I said, you know, before, 4 in a row, and some of these have been really exciting. Is there one so far that you feel like stands out for you? I mean, one that you felt like your team really played a complete football game?
You know, it's difficult to say. I mean, I think the one game that really just sort of kind of tilted the season a little bit for us was the Eastview game. Absolutely. I think, you know, being down so bad there in the first half and just, you know, clawing and fighting and scratching our way back into it, I think that did a lot for our football team.
All right. Well, that's it for us, folks. Thanks again for joining us, and we will see you next week.